Hey, what do you know? I've even got sound. Mayang buntag, mayang hapon, mayang gabi, no matter where you are in the world. And to anybody who shows up in a few minutes, I appreciate it and thank you. That it's been an amazing ride for the last 18 months. Yeah. October 2020, we got here and we actually did a live stream, the first of many that weekend, relating our experiences trying to get here. It's been fun. Oh boy. The next one you see from me is liable to be from LA. I'm going to put computer away at the last minute. Microphones, all that fun stuff, I plan on taking down tonight. I'm going to leave up the camera. The camera does have a mic. It's what I started out with. And we'll try it Monday morning to give everybody a clue what's going on in last minute preps. And we're out of here at noon on Monday morning. It is down to the wire, and we are ready to go. Yeah, I like this. My counter, my view counter. Yeah, you can't see my finger, but my view counter is at 0, and yet I'm watching it on a different channel. So, like I say, the view counter is not terribly accurate. So I never actually do know how many people are here, other than if you start getting 15 or 20, it normally gives you at least a few on there. It's going to be interesting to see how a lot of this stuff reacts back in the States. I'm going to try and continue doing some of these live streams. I don't know on the timing. I don't know on the format it's going to take. I don't know if I'm going to try and do like I did here, do a couple from our room. I don't know. We're just going to have to check that one out and see how it goes. But giving you our thoughts and opinions on in real time on what it's like going back to the States after having been gone for so long, and especially with all the changes that have been going on there. It's kind of a scary adventure that Cindy and I have both talked about it. We let the stress get to us yesterday and had a bit of a blow up, and it's a move. It's a huge deal. Moving is second only to a death in the immediate family, as far as life stressors. And it was just as stressful when we were coming here, without question. Next year won't be quite as bad because it's only going to be a visit at this point. But that's a year away. Good Lord. You know, if anything, the last year has taught us that events and circumstances can change in a heartbeat. So, but our tentative game plan is to come back yearly. But like I said, who knows? That's anybody's guess. Our plan is to stay in the U.S. for 3 to 5 years. But again, it's anybody's guess. And with world politics right now, the entire world may go up on its end again for a new reason now that COVID's finally starting to go away. We've got pretty much everything packed. Yeah, I've got to close the bathroom door. We've got one more bag to pack, and we're waiting for our laundry to come back. And then we're going to pack that bag and then do our carry-ons. And after that, we're done. And like I say, immediately after this, I'm wrapped up with today's live stream. I'm going to pull pretty much everything here down and get it packed. There's a couple of files that I want to move over to the computer so that I can post them so that they'll go up Friday and Monday, just in case I don't get a video ready and uploaded. So Friday and Monday, you may get, or today and Monday, you may get a double video in the evening. Or I don't know. I don't know. Right now, I'm just kind of talking. That I don't know. But I do plan on trying to get all this stuff put away. I was hanging off until the last second just to get a lot of this stuff done and taken care of. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting next little bit. That is without question. What's going to happen? Who knows? We've made arrangements to get a ride from the airport back to our house. A good friend of ours that she's got a nice 4-door Dodge pickup that she's going to come down and pick us up. So that way we've got a big bed to throw all of our bags in and 4-door car so that she can borrow a car seat. Hey, Mr. Brandon, we just might see you Tuesday. That we will definitely be back in town by then. But they're going to pick us up at the airport like 4 o'clock on Friday or on Tuesday and go back to the house. And our tentative game plan is to probably head up to the one in Norterra. And I want to do Texas Roadhouse. I want a good steak. I haven't had one in a year and a half. We did find a really nice little Acacia Steakhouse, and it's a really good one. Rod did a review at a place and admitted it was actually a pretty good steak. That it's not that it was a peppered steak. It was not a steak I would typically order in the U.S., but it was pretty decent. I tried their better steaks. Their quote better steaks, and they weren't better. They weren't a what would be considered a good steak. So I gave up on ordering them, and they were horribly expensive, to be bluntly honest. So just Cindy had tried the black pepper steak for a couple of reasons, and was immensely impressed with it, and gave me some, and I was really impressed with it. So ever since we went back, that's what I've gotten. Surprisingly, for any of you guys that come over here, Kenny Rogers Roasters makes their premium steak, and it's like $10. It's like 400 pesos, 495, something like that. And it's right on par with what you get at Waffle House. Not a great steak, but an okay steak, a decent steak. And it helped curb the urges, the wants. But by the same token, when we get back to the States, to go down and get Pandesal, which is 5-10 pesos here. I think it's 5 pesos at Julie's, and I think it's like 6 or 8 pesos at Panda Manila. And both of them are friggin' outstanding Pandesal. I know one place, Casa Filipina on 35th Avenue in Thunderbird, that they make it, but it's kind of pricey, and it's not like you can walk down to the local corner and grab it. That it's 3-4 miles from where we live. Trying to get halo halo. Again, Casa Filipina makes a really good one, but again, it's a few miles away. You got to go get it. A lot of the foods here that we've gotten used to. I absolutely love the pineapple here. That it is real soft and it is sweet. their dragon fruit. I'd never had the red dragon fruit. It was outstanding here. I don't believe I've ever seen it in the US, and it was much better, in my opinion, than the standard white dragon fruit. Uh, yeah, Brandon, I'm definitely not looking forward to going through a Phoenix summer. It's going to be interesting on how Chana handles the summers in Phoenix. We'd still like to try and do morning walks, as sun's coming up. Realizing that walks are not something that you do much there in Phoenix. Cindy kind of would like to get back into jogging. So we're just going to have to see what goes on and what happens. So it's wrapped up. It's coming to a close. That this chapter is coming to a close, and it's a lot of emotions, good, bad, and indifferent. It was like Cindy and I this morning. We talked about it. We were planning on doing a joint live stream for a little bit, with Chana. And 5 minutes before we started, Chana fell asleep. And so Cindy's in there with Chana. And we realized our life is going to go like that for the next 5 years or so. And after that, a lot of life, any of you with kids, that life is going to turn around and go around, the kid's schedule to a point. The older they get, the more you can have their schedule come into a family schedule. But, a lot of events, baseball and dance practice and recitals and stuff like that, you're still kind of revolving around, kid schedule. So, basically for the next 18 years, we kind of plan on, that's going to be the primary function. And it's going to be an interesting experience. So, and the thing I said before, I'm supposed to have grandkids, not kids. I am thankful, and I thank God daily for Chana. That that all praise to God for him for giving us Chana. Neither one of us were supposed to have kids, let alone both of us together. And yeah, please, Brandon, don't in any way give me mistaken is complaining about it. I'm a very blunt realist in a lot of things, and it bothers Cindy frequently over it. It's not complaint, but it's looking at reality. It's just the way things are going to work out. Yeah, I never expected to be the one that they're going to give them back to, though. Not at this point. I was teasing my son. My son turns 29 here in a month. That it looked like you weren't going to give any grandkids, so I figured I had to make my own. And we recognize that's going to be an issue too. That this is our Philippines May comment. I wonder how long it's going to be before you get the Philippines bug back. And that's something that that you're definitely right, Mark. That it's a reality that we're looking at, and that's why we heavily stress our plans are to go back for 3 to 5. Beyond that, that we don't know what this is going to look like. It may be 3 to 5 months. We don't know. It may be 3 to 5 years. It may be 3 to 5 decades. We don't know. And that we're trying to be sensitive to God's leading and being acceptful and willing to move. and to change game plan along the way. Uh, Brandon, we were both horribly excited to get here. It was a scary feeling getting here too. Leaving a lot of things that we've had, that all basically what I knew for my entire life and what Cindy's knew for the previous 6 years or 5 years at that point. I'm out of coffee again. So Cindy, if you happen to be watching, and with the visa that I've got, the 13A and the ACR card, I do need to be back in the Philippines within the first 60 calendar days of the year to renew it. And so, like I say, our tentative game plans is to be back for a month or two, sometime, beginning sometime between January and February. If we can make it back before the 15th, that would be awesome. Our anniversary is on the 15th. Our first of three anniversaries is on the 15th of January, and it's when we got married here in the Philippines. And so it'd be nice to spend that anniversary annually here. Now, this is our Philippines. You were talking about going back to coming back in the Philippines. I can't remember the province. This summer, so that you could have summer break with kids, correct? Yeah, Daniel, it'd be really cool. I wish we could have overlapped, but Shy coming to Canada, I'm not entirely sure how to do that. And that in and of itself would be kind of cool too. And that's something that Steve, that talking about the rat race, that's something that a mutual friend of ours that's Filipino, that he was born here and moved to the U.S. in his teens, that his mom was a nurse, and they managed to immigrate back in the 70s. And that was something that he talked about, that he finally retired. And Cindy was kind of bemoaning about coming back, and a few of her friends, oh, why'd you get the degree, and are you going to abandon that and all that? And she kind of started getting into that. And that was one thing Romeo told us is don't. The minute you get the blue passport, the U.S. passport, get out of here. It's not worth. Corporate America just isn't worth it anymore. And so that was kind of the final thing. And she hasn't missed the rat race a minute since she's been gone. She did start to do, had a really good gig going with an accounting firm out of Chicago last year while we were here, and did fairly well. But again, corporate politics and a little bit of politics itself got involved, and rules started changing and made it a little bit more difficult. And that it finally just got enough that both her and the company said, screw this. Since then, she's had only a few job offers, and they've all been horribly low paying, to the point where she didn't feel it was worth the hassle. And then with the pregnancy and everything else, but she is kind of looking forward to, and is, renewed a resume and all that fun stuff. She's kind of looking forward to going back to work and getting back into that for a while and see how it goes. And we're going to have the advantage of, Shauna goes with us. So I'm like Steve, that, your kids are here in the Philippines, and you're basically an OFW foreigner. Yeah, which is making it way hard for you to get back. Uh, China will be with us either place we go. So, but then on top, then with that, we've got the logistics and the expense of instead of just one person going back, now we got three. So, three. Uh, that there's pros and cons to that too. And it same with anything in life. There's going to be good and bad. The Mama Papa have offered, we'll keep China for you. Just come back early. And that they are it's setting in badly on them. That it's Monday. We're done. That they've actually said that they'll pay for a cab and are going to go to the airport to spend every last possible second with Chana and Cindy and I before we go back. It's going to be hard on them, without question. And their youngest son is planning a marriage this August to his girlfriend, fiance. And so that they are kind of obligated to stay here at this point for many reasons. Depending on how things go, we may kick in a ticket for at least Cindy to come back for the wedding. So I don't know that's a remote possibility, and it will depend a lot on finances, how things are going, current world politics, and that's just a passing thought type situation, but it has been suggested. Morning, Mr. John. How you doing, Philippine Experience? Good to have you this morning. That this is liable to be my last one. I am going to try and do one Monday morning to give a few goodbyes before I throw the computer and camera in the bag, but everything else will be packed. It will not be one of my better live streams. Matter of fact, now the more I think about it, I might actually do it from the phone. I might actually do it from the phone. That might be a better choice to do. Now that it dawned on me, and I looked over and happened to notice my phone. We are going to put some load on our phone before we leave, and about every 90 days we'll put load on phone from the States. That I can do that. I've actually done that with Mama Papa's phone. I've done it with other people's phones too. And so I know it can be done without too big of an issue. I've also ordered stuff on Lazada from the States. I know that can be done, and that's typically where we get our load from. So, and then on top of it, we've got a friend over here, Cindy's sister-in-law, her brother's wife, that her family does phone load. And so absolute positive worst case, we will just send them, hey, can you put 100 pesos? That, yeah, because I guess since the pandemic, a lot of schools have taken to more the Western school year that they do August, September through May, June. That when Cindy was in school, that they did May through March. And so March, April were off. Oh, I didn't know you could, Mark, I didn't know you could load phones on Zoom. I may have to look into that one as a backup. But and there's a couple things that we want to keep active here. Because we've been here so long, and a lot of things are tied into these phone numbers. We want to keep them active. Don't know for sure if I'm going to keep the smart line active, because other than using it as live streaming, I've never really used the phone number for anything. And so I may let that one lapse. I may just keep 100 pesos on it. I don't know. Oh wow, that they were kind of ahead of the curve. Now her brother worked at a private school in Manila. That pretty much their entire existence, they've been more of a Western type school year. I actually stumbled across a globe online that you can do in the U.S. And from the U.S., the globe online recognized you were in the U.S. and was slightly different than what it is here, and was set up for just exactly that reason, is to allow people to load a Philippines phone from the U.S. or from overseas, I guess. But like I say, it's just going to have to be figured out as we go along. Kind of do like we've done on everything else last year and a half years. Figure it out as we go along. And we did that a lot in the States before we left. That it was constantly evolving situation. We had a ballpark game plan on where we wanted to wind up, and just figured out along the way. And sometimes where we initially wanted to end up and where we actually ended up were horribly different. Sometimes they were exactly the same. Sometimes they were exactly the same with a slightly different path. And that's kind of what we're trying to do, is be open enough to change and to what's happening. And a lot of it's, in God's timing and God's leading, that we're getting out of here on the same day that we were told was the earliest we should expect to see our passport back. And, we've had our passport back we'll have had it back for 2 weeks at that point. So, I'm kind of looking at this God's timing, and that it's a sign that it is something that He is blessing at this point. So, and that's kind of what we try to look at. I don't know, and it's going to be definitely interesting. It's going to be unquestionably a little bit sad. But we're also going to go back, and there's a ton of Filipino community with us. Any of you guys that are online that want to be invited tomorrow, about 9:00, about this time tomorrow, we're going to be having a kind of a virtual baby dedication here. And then when we get back to Phoenix, we'll have a baby dedication. We'll do a virtual component to it for the Filipino people, and we're doing it virtual. We're doing it here live for the Filipino people and virtual for the U.S. But there again, our wedding was kind of that way too, that we did one here. And at that point, virtual wasn't quite like it is today. Yeah, it's amazing how much that stuff's changed in just 6-7 years. And then we did a U.S. wedding. That's why we have 3 different wedding dates, 3 different anniversaries. But it's gonna be an interesting experience. It's gonna be an interesting time. Right now, we're down to the last 3 things we want to do. Is we want to go down to the bank, and she says I've never heard of this before, and the concept of post-dated checks are kind of alien to me. But she said the bank will take and hold checks with post dates on them and deposit them on the correct dates. And so we're going to go down and we're going to write out 3 checks for a small amount, enough to make a deposit to keep the account active. And the other thing I want to do is I've got a new 20 peso coin. And so I'm gonna, and she says banks really don't do this here. So I don't know. I'm gonna go down and talk to them while we're doing this. That I want to buy 50 of the 20 peso coins to bring back with me. And what that's going to be is just to pass out to different people, kind of a cheap pasalubong. 20 pesos is like 50 cents. The 50 of the coin should be should be 1,000 pesos, about $20. I think it'd be kind of cool, and I actually like the coins and the way that they're done. And we'll probably throw one in a coin holder for Chana. I'd never thought about this until today, and I've never looked. And so if any of you people have ever looked, you can let me know. Do the new Filipino coins have a date on them? If so, I'm going to have a friend of ours to try and get a set of 2021 dated Filipino coins that are as minimally circulated as possible. For my son, I did this in the U.S. Matter of fact, you can buy these. They're called birth sets. For that year, you can get a set of uncirculated coins. Somebody's awake. We have a very, very special guest star.
She just said I need to let her burp.
Okay. Thank you. Please go grab coffee.
No.
Okay. No? That looks way better on Papa than you, huh? She said, Mama, what is this guy doing to me? Hey, Chana.
Say hi. Hi.
Can you say hi, Mr. Brandon?
See you in Phoenix. See you in Phoenix.
Say, we'll see you in a week. Yes, it was probably a very good nap.
She's looking at me.
Yeah, she's kind of looking back and forth. But yeah, it's this one that we're gonna be working with. And John, Philippine Experience. You asked us in a message. Yes, that Cindy did say that we do have the bassinet seat. So she's gonna get a really cool bed to sleep in.
Antigen test, because it's PCR test or antigen test. So I need to call very fast if they do antigen test, because it's a lot cheaper.
Well, we can do either.
Yeah.
Did you talk to the airline?
No, there's
A lot of this stuff is developing as we speak. She actually is really good about paying attention to different things. I am hugely impressed.
You smile, people say hi.
Movement's a big thing. That somebody starts walking by or walking through, she'll follow them and she'll actually turn, and I think that's actually going to wind up being what helps her roll over. There's been 4 or 5 times at this point here in the last week or two that she's gotten all the way up onto the side, but she's not moving her leg over to continue to roll over. But she'll get up on her side and watch you as you're walking on the other side of her.
She kind of like, oh, look at you.
What's funny is she's starting to. I don't know where she's picked it up, why she's doing it, but every once in a while she'll start panting like a puppy. She has gotten amazingly vocal. It's really hard to tell when she does it. It's definitely on her schedule. But Papa says she's got a big voice like Pop, like me, like her Papa. And yeah, that the other day, Chana, Mama, Papa were in Mama Papa's room, and I was out on the balcony of ours for a minute. You were actually able to hear her outside through the closed windows. And it's going to be interesting in the next few years with her and seeing how she develops. She's gotten to where she prefers to sit up like this than laying down. She wants to lay down. It's kind of, that she's getting tired and she wants to go to sleep. So we're actually kind of looking forward to getting back to the States and getting her a walker and getting her a high chair and letting her start to sit up more. She's not quite got the 2-finger grasp down that it's more.
Okay, I'll just grab your bowl.
I appreciate that. So I'm But we periodically get her to stick her tongue out and to do that. And so it's kind of funny. I don't know if she sees herself in the mirror. And again, that the best experts' opinions are saying that they're not recognizing themselves. They're just seeing a baby. But you'll show her a mirror and she will get out there. And there have been a couple times that she's tried to reach out. That the other thing she's done repeatedly is she'll be up like this and she'll lean forward. And there's been a couple times it's been close that I've managed to catch her. But yeah, she's definitely getting to be a little bit of a daredevil and doing things and being much more active than I anticipated. Well, which is very cool, and it's a ton of fun. We are very excited about the opportunities and potentials that she's going to have in the U.S. My hat keeps falling down. That the other day we went to the doctors, and Philippines, it was bright and it was pretty sunny, and we got her a bonnet to wear. Careful, that yeah, she's kind of discovered her hands. I don't know if you can see what she's doing. Yeah, she was leaning forward and playing with her hands. But she was so active every time you turn around that she bumped the bonnet down and was kind of playing peekaboo. But so we finally got in the shade and gave up on the bonnet. She's starting to discover stuff. That anything she touches immediately goes to the mouth. And that's, amazingly typical for kids this age. As you can see, she loves looking around and seeing things. Colors are hugely impressive to her at this point. And it's fun watching her with anything colored or and sometimes it's kind of fun trying to figure out what in the world are you looking at, And more often than not, if you give her more space to look, she finds other things to look at. Who's that? Can you see the baby? But we've got several friends, several fill-in couples that we've known before we left that are very much looking forward to it. Like I say, that one of them is actually going to come down and pick us up.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Can we say mabuhay? I got it.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for coming in. We haven't really watched cartoons with her yet. We just really haven't watched cartoons with her yet. I don't know how much attention she has on that. My son bought a new TV and put it out in our living room. And he moved our TV into the bedroom, our bedroom. And so I'm going to get a wall mount and wall mount our TV and leave it in the bedroom. And so that will help a lot in being able to watch TV with her. Because right now, Cindy and I watch movies and stuff like that on a computer in the bedroom. And I played a couple of videos, a couple of nursery rhyme or kids counting video or stuff like that for her. And she has seemed pretty attentive to it. So it's going to be interesting. But as far as preferences, she really hasn't started to show a whole lot of preference on anything. And that's the interesting part. Is she really hasn't started to show a preference on anything at this point. So I don't know. Now she is starting to get a little bit more active in peekaboo. That's actually a really cool thing. Okay, Pauline Walter, Vom today. Okay. Russian hackers are coming at us. I guess the Russians are attacking everywhere. What can I say? It definitely makes for an interesting. But anyways, one thing I like to do is I'll take one of her burping blankets or something like that, and I'll do this on her nose and eyes, and just kind of tease her like that. And what's funny is she'll start kicking and like that, and she'll start laughing about it. And I do it for a second, and back it off. I laugh with her, and I'll do it for a second and back off and laugh at her, and then I'll do it. I'll bring it over or start to bring it over, and she'll still do this and laugh for a second before she realizes it's not there. So she is anticipating things. That's unquestionable. That she's anticipating things, which is a way cool thing. It's unquestionable in my mind. I don't know whether or not it's unquestionable in a psychologist's mind or whatever else, but to a proud parent, it's unquestionable in my mind that she's beginning to anticipate certain events that have happened very recently. That's another thing is I'm going to be almost 20 hours, almost 24 hours without a cigarette. And so that's going to be potentially a good time to try and quit. But it also going to be a little bit of a stressful challenge too. And in LA, you're actually not supposed to smoke near the airport. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. But as far as our last 500 days here, it's been a roller coaster ride. of everything. This was horribly poor timing coming here for a lot of reasons. It was horribly amazing timing coming here for a lot of reasons. I've made comment in the past that in 5 years in the States, in Arizona, Cindy basically hasn't used birth control. And I don't either. And it never took. But within 4 months of being here, we had one on the way. Matter of fact, her female problems seem to have cleared up quite a bit. So it's unquestionable that things are improving. And the other thing that a friend of ours and another nurse that we know both made comment of is you got out of the U.S., you got out of a lot of the stress, you got into a more laid back environment, you improved your diet. Yeah, it's not surprising in the least. So I don't know. I don't know. Would it work for everybody? I don't know. Do I look at it as a huge blessing? Yeah, I do, without question. And so there's been a lot of less than positive, and there's been a lot of very positive that came out of this experience. We kind of planned on doing a 500-day review, and we just celebrated our 500th day here about a week ago. 11 days ago, that we are on day 511 in the Philippines. And, it's been an amazing time in a lot of ways. I really wish we could have gotten to do a whole lot more traveling. I'm hoping that's going to happen in the future. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That MG project I want to get done in the States, that is going to be a priority to get done. Not a top priority, but a priority to get done for a few reasons. One, the price of vehicles in the U.S., and two, for the enjoyment of doing it, and then the enjoyment of having it. For the longest time, I've had a motorcycle, and I love riding. Just before Cindy came there, the bike got parked, and it wound up being parked for like 4 or 5 years. And I just never was able to get back to it. The car got parked and was never able to get back to it. The bike I finally did wind up selling, and the midget I've kept, and that one I do still want to do. And hopefully that's going to get done. But like I said, that I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to have to go with that. I don't know. The current plan for the channel is we're going to start focusing a lot more on the family and what works for us, and like monthly do a tips and tricks video. That we're going to try and do a monthly interview of another Phil-Am couple that's been married for a while, with or without kids, and just get with them and how have you managed to make and blend these cultures together? What's worked for you, and realize that what works for us may not work for them, and what works for them may not work for you, and just start doing it from that perspective. That we know we know several Phil-Am couples that have adult children. It'd be kind of fun to see them and see how they, and if they incorporated the Philippine culture into them. If they've ever been back. That we know several that the adult children have never been to the Philippines. And so It'll be interesting on a lot of that. Uh, but it's just coming up on 9 o'clock, and I've actually been on here for 50 minutes. So, like I say, I'm probably going to do a mobile live stream, quite probably from the house, and just show our exit strategy, exit video, and probably do that as an exit video. Because at that point, the next time you'll see us, we will be in the U.S. As far as any kind of a live stream or any kind of longer video. I know a lot that don't. That surprised me. I know a lot that don't. I actually know a few that do know, but not many. In Chandler, every year, and we just missed this year's, that sometime in February, and I'm going to have to get back there and start talking with them, that they'll do a International Mother Tongue Day. And it's just exactly that it's people whose native language is not the local language. Because that they showed it. There's others that in Germany and in Japan had one. That there were a few places that English wasn't the local language, but and for a few of them, English was the mother tongue that they were talking about. But teaching their, the bringing and influencing that and helping people realize that multilingual is kind of good, and that with Shauna, we're expecting her to grow up with English, Visayan, Tagalog, and a little bit of sign language that I can sign passably, conversationally. Cindy can sign a little bit, and we have several deaf friends. And so we're hoping that she incorporates sign language in there as well. Then we've got a friend of ours that she's an interpreter and she's a speech pathologist, speech therapist for at a local deaf school back in Phoenix. And so she is very fluent, and she has 2 children that she taught sign language from birth. And so they're not children of deaf adults, but they're as close as you can get. And so we would love to have Shauna be multilingual like that. For her to be a polyglot would be a very cool thing. I am having a very difficult time, better than some, picking up Visayan. That it's kind of a moving target in a lot of ways, especially since they don't have any formal instruction in it. And so, that's been a little bit of a challenge for me, and I'm hoping to learn a little bit more as she does too. That we've got some books. We're going to get with a few different friends of ours that are Visayan. We're going to try and find PDF copies of Fun with Dick and Jane and those books, and basically translate them into Visayan. And so that way she'll have Dick and Jane books that she can learn from. And I think they'd be great for me too. So, but like I say, we need to get to the bank, and it's 55 minutes on here and 8:55. Wow, I started right on the hour. I did good today. I found a few of those, and I've actually had Cindy go through them, and they're not exactly what you hear in the streets daily. But it's a great resource to learn enough to become conversationally fluent. It may not be perfectly fluent, but at least to be able to carry on a basic conversation. And so that's kind of what we're looking to do. We even tried to do a translation of it. They weren't great, and so we were trying to do that. That'd be cool, Daniel, if you could do that. That would definitely be appreciated. But for today, from Toe Chip Compound, mabuhay.